Guys. I'm here trying not to look tired. I've had a whole long day at work, and I get to have a really beautiful conversation, a heart to heart with Brooke Boone about race, faith, love, and what we do. And we are just wanting to join in on the conversation and to invite those into the conversation. We don't have all the answers. That's not what this is about. This is about just talking about things that we all need to desperately talk about, and not ignore things. So just not being silent on things that are really critical to our lives and critical to the lives that we're trying to lead. So once Brooke gets here, it's going to be off the chain. So you guys know her. She's the creator of Holy Yoga, and she's so much more and so many other things too. She's a businesswoman. She loves God. She loves people. And here, let me go get her. Let me go get her. Hello, Brooke. Hey, babe.
Hi, sister.
Okay, I can't see you yet. Hold on. Do you see me?
Well, I see you, girl.
You see me?
Mm-hmm.
Oh,
okay.
I
do too. Your
Okay,
beautiful
good.
face. I see
Your
you.
beautiful face.
Thank
Oh,
you. Do you see me now?
I see you now.
Hi, babe.
Lovely.
Hi, babes.
So I just was setting people up and letting them know, like, today we're really just going to have a heart to heart about race, about faith, about love, all the things that we are feeling and thinking in our hearts and in our lives, our private lives. And that this isn't, we don't have all the answers, but we want to definitely spark the conversation and invite others into the conversation and not be fearful, right?
Yeah, most definitely, girl. We need that. We need some honest conversation right now. And I think part of the honest conversation is just how damn scared we all are. And so,
Yeah.
yeah, I'm looking forward to the conversation for sure.
So, earlier today, you were the brilliant one. I was thinking, man, I got to call Brooke. And then on my way to work this morning, you're like, Shay, let's talk. Let's talk about this. And I'm like, yes, let's talk about this. And you said something that I thought was really critical. And I want to say it out loud here, and this will start our conversation. So you were like, I have to be quiet on the issues of race and this tragedy because you felt like it wasn't your place to speak to it, right? You felt like it was.
I feel.
I want you to speak to that.
Here's what I felt like. Well, first of all, I didn't know how to feel, right? And I feel oftentimes I use my social. I want to be responsible with the way I'm using social. And so I think I was just so damn confused and so in awe and like disgusted and hurt and fearful and also white.
Right.
So I'm like, I feel as though sometimes that I'm perceived as the problem. And so I want to be so respectful of it. And what I'm realizing now in conversation with you and then just in prayer and meditation, it's like, I'm only part of the problem if I'm silent or if I think I'm part of the problem in the wrong way. And so here's my history is I had a very dear friend and I asked her, she's Black, and I asked her, she's from Nigeria. And I asked her, like, I don't, like, sincerely, like, can you help me understand what's offensive and what's not offensive? And this was probably like 8 or 10 years ago.
Sure.
And has everything to do with her level of maturity. Maybe it was my level of maturity, but it broke the friendship. And I was like, I had no intention of that breaking the friend. I did. And then I was left more stupefied, like, oh shit, now I can't even ask the questions now without like, oh my God, being like the real white problem. Like I was just legitimately trying to learn or have an opinion that was educated. And so I think I had a lot of that fear as well. So me being quiet was really about, I don't know how I feel. I want to be responsible with the conversation. And then also I'm kind of afraid that I'm going to get it wrong and then I'm going to offend somebody and so it's hard to be part of the solution when I feel like I'm the problem.
And I love that you said that because I have been getting an innumerable amount of direct messages to things and information and videos and write-ups that I've been putting out there. And I would say that they are probably like 90% from white people. And what I'm seeing is that there's so many, I want to say this, there's so many really good white people, like really good white
Thank
people.
you. Yes.
Like,
And there's some really terrible ones too.
absolutely, absolutely. Just like there's terrible there's terrible people. But you know, like just when you think about things like
People,
the
yeah.
Underground Railroad couldn't take place because a whole bunch of Black people wanted to be free. There had to be a whole bunch of good white people who wanted them to be free too. So I
That's
guess
right.
so earlier in our conversation today, I'm going to be very transparent and say, you know, you had been silent. And what did I say? I said to you, you know what? I was unsure of what you felt. I was unsure if this bothered you because I perceived your silence as another wonderful way of being white, where you don't have to be concerned about things that don't affect you. And we were just getting to know each other. So I was like, well, maybe this is not a big thing for her. And the whole time is you were scared to engage in conversation because you thought you would muck it up.
Well, yeah, and I just wasn't ready. Like, I just didn't know how to feel. Like, I'm, of course, enraged. It's straight up murder. There's no question. That's murder. The idea that these men are not behind. If I would have done that, I would be in jail.
Yeah.
There would be no question.
Right.
And, you know, yeah, I'm appalled. I'm appalled at the racial, I'm appalled at the abuse of power of the cops. I mean, I'm just so, and here's the truth. I was thinking about it today. I was like, I do a really good job, almost to a fault, of not participating in media. Like anything that I learn, I usually comes from my feed, and then I will go to a trusted source. So I am very, very intentional about what I take in, especially during this whole, my girlfriend Belinda calls it living Covida Loca, right? So this whole Covida Loca thing.
Covida Loca, I like that.
She's very Mexican, so she's living Covida Loca. But so she is, so I'm, especially with that, I'm just very careful of what to ingest. And so I didn't know enough to know. And so I was feeling like this angst and this, and here's the truth, the collective of humanity, whether they know what's going on or not, is feeling that collective angst. This is a human condition. This is a bad situation, right? You see the riots going on. I mean, this is a bad situation where,
and let's speak about those riots too.
Go ahead. Yeah, go. No, but I was just saying, like, I just didn't have enough information, but I do know that it's a collective. You don't even need all of the facts, because it is a human issue.
Because Black people are like, you don't need to know any more facts.
What do you need to know?
You know what Black people feel like? We've been fact out. We are tired of the facts. Because you know what? You know, the history of my skin in this nation, white people have always found ways to line up the facts that I still look like the aggressor or the person who's wrong. So
no question.
So Black people, not like I can speak for all Black people because we're all very individualized, just like white people are. But I know the heart, what I'm feeling in our community when I'm talking to my Black friends and family members, that's what we're feeling. We're like, we don't care about facts. We want you to be disgusted like that is your daddy on the ground. That's what we want.
And people should be. And people should be. This is a human disaster. I mean, the fact that we can treat each other this way, the fact that, I mean, it's
unbelievable to me.
It's unbelievable. It's unconscionable. And it feels as though, where the hell is humanity? Like, where is, I mean, in the words of Fergie, where is the love?
Where is the love? Black Eyed Peas. No, for real though. It's, you know, you were silent because you still needed to figure out how you felt and everything. I perceived your silence as lack of caring. And the reason why I wanted to say that out here is there's a lot of silent white people who really do care. And I want them to know that the way you show you care and the way that you show you're an ally, don't be silent anymore.
So what do we do? What do we do? What do we do? What do we say? What do we do? Like, here's me. I'm probably never going to post on social media about, like, you know what I mean? But that's not a lack of solidarity. It's like, what do I do? Like, how, you know, and then I'm looking at my children, and they could not be more white or more privileged.
Right.
Sincerely. I mean, like, it's embarrassing to some degree because I'm aware of my own privilege
Whiteness.
in ways that I've never been before, right? And then I kind of feel shame about it, like maybe, you know, so then it's all those things. I mean, I think that there are a lot of, I know, but I mean, thank you. And I don't with you, but I think that if we're talking about white people, first of all, we don't know what to do. And then, you know, I said this to you earlier, I get this a lot, like, well, you'll never know the plight of a black man. Well,
you're right.
Of course, I will never, but I can have compassion and empathy. Care. I can care.
You can care.
So even when I say, or I try and be empathetic, it's like, you would never know anyway. And it's like, yes, and how do I get in? So Shay, tell me, as a white sister, I want to stand shoulder to shoulder. I want to be lifting your hands up. I want to go low and wash your feet. And, you know, like, but how do we do it?
Yeah.
How do I do it? What's the best way?
Yeah. I think one is not being silent. When I say not being silent, what does that look like? Who cares about your feed? That looks like making sure your children see the world as a world where all of us are God's beautiful children and all of us are tremendous value. You know, that's why Black Lives Matter came out. You know, when white people come back to Black people with all lives matter, never in the history of America have all lives matter. Never once in the history of all lives had equal value in the history of the United States of America. Never once. So that's not a proper comeback. Why is your brother saying that? Why does your brother feel like they have to say my life matters? Because they're saying my life matters too. And your actions have acted like they don't. So what I need you to do with your beautiful white privileged children, one, ain't nothing wrong with that. Two, they better not feel ashamed about that. Three, they better know they have it though. Four, I want them to do something about that. And what does that look like in every day? I'm really big into the little things. The little things. I believe in the power of the little things. I believe that in the aggregate, we tip the scales. We move the needle to love. And what that looks like are conversations like this. Heart to heart. Heart to heart. Here, I don't know if I'm going to say that. I don't even know if I'm going to say the right thing. None of us do. But we're going to try. We're going to get in the dirt together. When I'm at a family conversation or a Thanksgiving and they like to drop the N-word, none of that. I am not sitting down here. When we're having conversations that marginalize and minimize people's values, none of that. Don't be silent. And it's easy to be silent. I want to tell you a story. One time when I was in college, I was still in college, and my oral communications teacher, I love this professor. She was just such a great lady. She had recently gotten married to a new man in her life, and they wanted to take me out to dinner. And I was like, yes, because I'm broke and I'm eating ramen and bagels. So yes, take me out to dinner. So I go out to dinner. I need to say that they're a Black couple. And they had this beautiful fancy Mercedes, and I get in the back seat. I've never met him before, but I know her, and she is of the highest integrity in my eyes. And he starts railing on white people. And I wasn't raised to feel any kind of way about white people. I wasn't raised to feel any. So I'm like in the back seat, and he is like, mother effing crackers. You know how they do. And he just went down, and I didn't know what to say. And I was silent. I was beyond silent. Like, not even like, I was just like,
I didn't even give a
nothing. I did not know what to say. And I think about that silence because everything in me wanted to say, I don't feel like that. I don't feel like that. I know there's a lot of distrusting. There's a lot of white people that we shouldn't trust. And for older Black people, I want to say this. For older Black people, where white people and Black people don't like each other, it's for two very different reasons. White people tend to have a sense of superiority. Those who don't like Black people, I'm better than you. We're never raised to think that we're better than you. And matter of fact, we're just fighting to believe and prove that we're as good as you, right? But where it comes from people in my mother's generation is they don't trust you because they have had to lead a schizophrenic relationship with you. And what I mean by that is you're nice to them here, but then you better be in your place right over here. That shit is hard to know how to go back and forth. Are we friends or are we not? I need, like that girl in Central Park, let's call her Becky. So Becky in Central Park, what she really was telling that black brother was, who are you to correct me? I correct you. I correct you. You don't correct me. But society taught her that. So how we do is make sure you're raising your children better. Make sure you're engaging your friends of color, your white friends too. Please engage each other with conversations like this. Listen to us.
It's true. It's
Listen to us. Ask
it's
me
so
questions.
true. Yeah. Well, thank you for being someone that I can ask a question, because like I said earlier, I've asked
lost
questions,
a friendship,
right?
and I lost
a friendship, and it was, Brooke's a racist. And I'm like,
no, you were just trying to figure it out.
Right. But the same woman called me like an anti-gay. And I mean, like, I am
like
anti-nothing. Like, I'm like, everything all the time. Yes, in Jesus. Oh, this is wine.
I love it.
I was like, well, I'm not going to put it in a wine glass.
I'm putting my water in a wine glass, girl. I came right from, I literally got out of the car, ran to the bathroom, and was like, okay.
Well, I saw your post, and you're like, I had to walk today because I drank a lot of wine.
Well, I sure did. I was like, there will be no running here. They'll be walking.
Unless something chases me, I'm not running.
So, and you know, I love that you share that you lost a friendship over. I think that's a real fear that white people have. Like, I'm going to be so offensive. I'm going to offend. That, I think, in my opinion, how I see white people is the scariest thing for a white person, the most undesirable position for a white person to be in is to be perceived as a racist. Now, white people like to do racist shit all the time.
I know.
But they don't want to be called a racist. A racist is really gets under your skin, it seems to be. Is that an accurate assessment?
Well, yes. I mean, who would ever, what if I said to you, you're a racist? You hate white people. You'd be like, that is the most awful.
Awful.
Well, because it says inherently, I don't value humans.
Right.
And I'm like, that is not a bend that I have. I don't care what your name is, what your haircut, I don't care what you do. I don't care how you contribute. You are a beloved child of the King Most High, whether you know it or not, whether you act like it or not, it's so true. That's the truth of your origin. And so, it's offensive to me that I would be perceived as anything other than that,
And I think that's a very real thing. And I think that's why white people remain silent at times, is because
I agree. That's how I'm silent. I said to you, I don't know how to be right now.
Yeah.
Like, help me as my sister. I don't care what your skin color is. Yeah. Help me be here because I don't know how to be here. I literally, Shay, I asked you this morning, can I say black and white? Like, I am a white woman that's afraid to say Shay is black.
Right.
You are not offended that you're black.
Nope, I'm black.
I'm afraid of offending you, but I'm not offended by your blackness. I love your blackness.
Yeah. And I'm not offended by your whiteness.
But if I ask you, you know what I mean? Like, it makes me feel like I should have a problem with your black. I have no problem. No. But if I say it, then is it derogatory? Is it differentiation? Is it not?
What I call myself. I identify. You know what? I think to help you with that question, because I identify as black. In the Bahamas, no one's walking around saying they're African Bahamian. But having said that, I am not minimizing the desire to be called African American by some of my brothers and sisters, right? How do
I know as a white woman, though?
Yeah.
Do you get what I'm saying? Like, if she says in Central Park, an African American, well, he's not African American. He's pissed because he's black. He's not.
But there's something. So I think, first of all, how you can solve that problem is listen to how people refer to themselves, and you pick it up from there. So, like, for me, I always tease white folks, all my white friends, because white people only use the word Caucasian when black people are in the room. I know white people don't call each other Caucasian.
I don't think I cause anybody. I'm not hey, Caucasian.
Anytime I'm talking to a white person, they're referring to, like, they need to say the race of the other white person. They're like, there was a Caucasian. I'm like, shut up. You know, you don't call each other Caucasian. I'm married to one of y'all. I know he calls himself white. You know what I mean? So it's so funny how we have these, not sure, but I would say follow the lead of how that person calls themselves and honor it. And I want to speak to also one more thing. I do want to speak to, sometimes I've heard people like, why are they African? Why can't we just be American? Like, that was last Thanksgiving. I was at a family. She's like, why do they call him African American? Of course, Becky, white Becky. She was like, why can't we just, Becky and Karen.
Why is every white girl named Becky?
It just sounds good. I'm like, Becky, Karen.
Tina.
Yes, Becky with the good hair.
Becky with the good hair and the good skin.
Yes, all that. So
that's funny.
She said, why I just really don't know why people are African American. Can't we just all be American? I was like, first of all, Jesus Lord, I'm so tired of educating white folks.
Yeah, well,
first of all,
I'm one of them. So sorry.
No, but first of all, I wasn't even considered a full human being here in the United States of America. Okay. There had to be an amendment to the Constitution to establish my humanness. Do you hear how crazy that sounds? And do you understand how, at least, I'm not telling you to feel just like I feel, but at least hold space that maybe I cannot look at the Constitution like it is the blood of Jesus. Maybe I cannot, because it has been very wrong for me many times. Do you understand me? Mm-hmm. So like when all these white people like patriotic, like we just love America and America's the best and it's the greatest. I'm not saying not to love America, but can you at least understand that America has not been equitable to me?
Yeah. 100%.
And that maybe it's difficult for me to feel this closeness to a country that I am trying to figure out as well. Mm. You love me sometimes, and other times you hate me. Like I always go to the Jesse Owens story. Jesse Owens was our fastest and greatest runner. We go to the Berlin Olympics. Hitler's Berlin Olympics is what we called them. We go, and he is our pride and joy. He's our pride and joy. He's the fastest man in the world, and we want him to kick Hitler's ass. Jesse is in a beautiful, huge coliseum, like stadium, and people are screaming all sorts of horrendous, hateful stuff at him. Jesse puts his head down. On your marks, get set. Jesse sets up and go. Jesse runs so fast that Jesse doesn't just run faster than everybody on the field. Jesse runs faster than anybody, anytime he's ever run before. Jesse beats his own record. And it would be a record that Jesse would hold until the 1980s. Oh my God. He comes back to America, and only the white people are invited to the president's house of the United States, the White House of the United States of America. Do you hear me? We have a schizophrenic relationship.
Wow.
How do I love you? Loved me for a second because I was your golden child. I made America look good despite my blackness. I come, they throw a party for Jesse because he is our pride and joy. Jesse shows up at the Waldorf Astoria and has to go to the back service door. The party is for him. The party is for him. And he has to go to the back door? Do you hear me? It's a schizophrenic relationship. When do you love me? Tell me when. Mm. Tell me what we doing right now. Is it a love? Are we friends right now? Or are we foe? So I'm saying, like, you have got to know that a lot of Black people feel that, and a lot of old Black people know it. Know it.
Okay, so let me ask you that. Okay, so old people know it, younger people feel it. Has there at least been any shift? Like, I can't stand that he went through the back door. Like, I know he doesn't go through the back door anymore. Yeah. Right? I know he's allowed in the Waldorf Astoria. So have we gotten anywhere?
Yeah, so I think we have. I'm a hopeful person. I think we have, because we can at least have these discussions. These discussions couldn't happen in my mom's day. Oh my God. These discussions couldn't happen in the 80s. Mm-hmm. So yes,
Well,
Our
amen.
studying of equity. What'd you say?
Well, I said, well, amen.
Right,
I was feeling
right.
a little hopeless.
So that's hopeful. I think that I never saw discussions like this happening, and I desperately wanted them.
Yeah.
I'm like, when when white people, I'm gonna say what I mean. And my professor in law school taught me that. Professor Joy, if you ever see this, I remember you teaching me that. I said to Professor Joy, he was like this swarthy, kind of darker skinned white guy. And I was like, Professor Joy, where are you from? He was like, Cleveland. And I was like, where's your family from? He's like, Minnesota. And he let that uncomfortableness keep going on. And I was like, because I'm trying to figure out where he get this dark skin and hair, and I'm trying to figure it out. And I said, well, where what ethnicity are you? And he said, exactly. Say what you want to ask. I'll tell you.
Mm-hmm.
Say what you want to ask, Shay.
Amen.
Be bold enough to say what you want to ask. So Professor Joy taught me that. So I'm not going to say people. Who I'm specifically talking about are white people. So I'm going to say that. I'm talking about white people. So I think that we absolutely have come a long way, but I think we still have so much longer to go. And here's the hope for me. The hope is I see that we're in a corridor and we're headed in the right place. Before, I don't even think people were in the same corridor. You know,
Yeah.
I don't even think they even knew that they were moving towards a similar endpoint, you know? So this has got to mean something, you know?
Well, that's what I'm saying.
Something.
I'm hopeful. I'm going to take off my earbuds though and plug my phone in.
Plug it in, because mine is plugged in because it was almost dead. Yeah.
All right.
Yeah, I still can hear you.
I'm hopeful that it's moving the bar or the needle a little bit. I know you said earlier today, or in the beginning, you're like, the needle moves a little bit with the small things, right?
It's the small things.
We show up. And so I guess that's where I'm hopeful.
Yeah.
Is that it's got to get better, because my intention is that it's better in my own, like, to your point, in my own little tiny world. Because if I'm taking care of my own tiny little world and I'm saying what I mean, I'm asking the questions directly, I'm not afraid of offending. I think so many people are afraid of offending, so they don't do anything, and that's what's offensive, is what you taught me today. It's like, I'm not offended by your not doing. I'm offended by your doing. I'm offended by your
silence. And I will say this. Okay. Will there be some people who will be offended, and will there be some relationships lost? Probably. But I think the larger, and when I look at the larger context, I think more good comes from these conversations than bad. More good. You know, and I think that if you're someone who will be offended, that someone is trying to figure out the right name to call you, to honor you, and give you respect, I don't know. I think that person's going to get offended, period, in their lives.
That's the human thing.
Yeah, that's the human thing.
That's not, that is her humanness. That's not my, like, that's not, I think it's a maturity thing. I think it was a development thing. I think there's probably a number of different things.
Totally. But so, I said something that I didn't fully finish it. So what I was saying about the whole African-American Black thing is, I think, take the lead on how that person refers to themselves or refers to other people of color. If you hear them say Black, go for it. If you hear them say African-American, go for it and honor it. Don't ask no damn question about why can't we all be American? I mean, like, what I was saying about Black people, and I wanted to really say this, is give us room and space to figure out how and what we want to be called. Everything that we were called in the first part of our time here were not words that were derived from us. They were words that were derived from masters and white people, what they wanted to call us. So pardon me that I take a few decades to figure out whether I want to be called colored, Negro, Black, African-American, Afro-American, Pan-Africanism. I mean, like, you see what I'm saying? Like, pardon me if I'm trying to figure it out, because you have to keep in mind that Black Americans, Black Westerners, people of the African diaspora, hold a very special place in the schism of Blackness. because we were ripped from our place of origin. We were ripped from our, so we don't have like all these nations to go back to and be like, oh, St. Patrick's Day, you know, we don't have all these things that we know. So we're trying to create something for us with a fracturedness. And if it takes us a little time, you need to give us that, you know, you need to give us that time, and you need to give me the latitude. And so although I call myself Black because it's where I come from in the Bahamas, that's how we call ourselves. Don't ask that question again. That question hurt my heart. I was like, shut up. And that question was a question of privilege. Of privilege. You know why you can say that shit? Because until the best gift my husband bought me was about 4 Christmases ago. And it was 23andMe. Actually, it was 5 Christmas. It was like at the very beginning of all this. And I got that gift and I sat right there on that mantle of my fireplace and I wept like a baby because I knew that he saw me and that the people that I come from, I really wanted to know who they were. I really wanted to know. And there was nothing for me to figure that out, because every Black person of the Western diaspora, we run into what we call the wall. It's the wall because you'll run into things that will say stuff like big back boy, because I was just chattel. That's all I was on your ship. So you don't have my name. You don't have who I am. But they were there. But they were there. Do you get me? They were there. They were on that boat. And I'm here because they lived. Because they lived. That's who I come from. I come from people who lived in the belly of a boat and still survived. That's some shit right there. I tell you what, that made me proud. And then after you got it for me, I was like, wow, look at who I am. Like, I couldn't believe it. I'm 72% sub-Saharan African, specifically Angolan, South African, and Nigerian. That was a proud moment for me. It really was. It was a proud moment for me. I am 23% British and Irish. I am 3.5% Middle Eastern. I am 1.5% Asian. So there you have it. I'm some of everybody.
Amen. Thank you.
So that's what I just want to say.
I love you.
I love you.
I'm sorry for the way that all of that rolled out, you know.
I didn't mean for it to. I was trying to keep it together, but I'm like, I'm being real.
I mean, like all of that, like the history of it, like nobody likes that. You know, I'm Jewish. My family's Jewish. I lost my great-grandparents in the Holocaust. And so
that's horrible.
My own, you know, filter has been the plight of the Jew, you know? Like,
yeah. And I felt the plight of the Jew. And I don't have to be Jewish like to feel it.
Not that we all, because it's not the same. So I'm not trying to say
no,
it.
Yeah, you don't have to worry about it. We don't have to do a comparative analysis of pain. That's not what we're doing. We're talking of pain.
But I appreciate it because I mean, it's awful, you know? And I appreciate the plea for time to figure out who we are. And I guess I would ask you as my sister, as you're navigating what you would like to be called, please understand that I'm just waiting for you to tell me.
I get it. No, I really do.
I'm not trying to offend. I think there's a lot of white people that are really not trying to offend. They
Never.
just want to love and love well. And sometimes like bringing it up is hard, and then not bringing it up is hard. And
oh God, that's so real. Thank you for saying that. Bringing it up is hard, and not bringing it up is hard.
It's hard because it's perceived as a lack of care. But like I'm worried about hurting. I'm worried about leaning in and hurting. Like I'm not worried about myself or offend. You know what I mean? Like I'm worried about others. So I don't know. It's just I think we do the right thing by doing this, you know. And
I do. I think it's the little things.
And my, you know, like Yeah.
I think this is exactly how we do it. We show up and, you know, it was very vulnerable. I'm not a pretty crier. I, these are things that I think about in my private life. And, but I believe that what we're talking about and how we show up when we're talking about it, I believe that people's lives will be changed by that. So I'll look ugly. I'll look messy.
We'll do the ugly cry.
We'll do it. You know, we will do it. And we'll keep having it. That's another thing. What can we do? We can keep having them.
Having the conversation and progressing the conversation.
Yeah.
Like stop, and back to the point about facts, and I know we gotta roll this up or whatever, but
that's all right.
But the facts, I think what happens is we go on the search for knowledge. It's the same damn thing as the garden. Every day of our lives, we go on a search of knowledge instead of life. There is plenty of life and kindness and love to be lived. Black, white, indifferent. I don't care what color you are, where you come from. Like, love is easier than hate. That's just
it is. It really is.
Truth.
It really is, sister. And I just, you know.
So no more facts. My point, like no more facts. Sorry,
that's exactly right. I don't want to hear it.
Like I don't want to have a conversation about what happened. I want to talk to you about how it impacts you. I want
that's
to talk
exactly
about
right.
How it feels, and I want to talk about like those kinds of things progress the conversation in the heart. For sure,
it's true. And I think white people need to do a lot of listening because there's a lot of pain built up. You know, you don't have what's happening in Minneapolis because someone stubbed their toe. You know what you're seeing? You're seeing hundreds of years of anguish, sister. That's what you're seeing. You're seeing that.
That collective angst. It's like, I don't need the facts to know that this is a human whole.
Yes.
Cavity of our
hurt.
Man, walking around, I'm like, damn, I feel it in the collective. Like I feel it in my bones.
Yeah. It's a big deal.
Any fact. There's just a chasm of fear, a chasm of loneliness, a chasm of violence. And here's the truth. God can fill that shit in.
Yeah.
That's the only hope that we have, is that the power of the Holy Spirit, the power of who God is, can fill all of our own fucking fractures.
It's so true. No, girl, drop it. I liked it.
That is what we need, is more of Jesus, more of the Holy Spirit, more patience.
Yeah.
And all of the things that we need are an anointing from the divine. We cannot go mustering that shit up ourselves. We have got to be humble enough to lay ourselves down, set aside our egos and our pride, and go, damn, I don't know how we got here. I know I didn't do it. I know I didn't get us here, but I'm going to be the difference to get us out of here.
That's right.
And the way that we're the difference, I mean, maybe I'm answering my own question.
No, and I have one more thing I want to say.
And God gets big, because everything that you need, Shay, that I need, this racial reconciliation, it all comes from the power of God. Love, peace, joy, gentleness, all the things that we need, we cannot drum up inside of us. We go, oh, we're going to get more facts and then we'll be compassionate. Bullshit.
That's right.
Life.
And then I need
compassion.
And then I need my white Christians to quit being silent, because white Christians are the most silent. Like, I could tell you, it oftentimes feels to me like racial injustice has never really bothered the white church, you know, and that's hurtful, because I'm like, I thought we were brothers and sisters. Well, kind of, or no? Huh?
I mean, it's schizophrenia.
That's what I'm talking about.
But that is a cultural thing, the schizophrenic.
That's right.
The church is falling in line with, well, the church is the church, right?
Right.
Like the church just serves the man, unfortunately.
That's right.
So it just takes on whatever culture, and so it too has that culture, you know.
It's oh my gosh, it's so it's like, okay. But
you know, George Floyd was a man of God.
Yes, he was. Yeah, and what I don't like, you already know I don't like. Don't ask me jack about what he did.
I don't care what he did.
Right, that's the thing about it.
I don't give a shit what he did.
And it shouldn't be a part of the dialogue.
It's not
kind of like, you know what helps?
Like the women of Me Too. Like, they do not need, you don't have to victimize them again for being
Right.
Black or a female. Like, are you kidding me? Like,
Right. It's kind of like saying, you know, how we treat Black people in America is how we treat the rape victim. Well, was she wearing a short skirt?
what? Yeah, what she
Did
do
she
to
drink
deserve
too
it?
much? How about this? Why are we raising sons that think it's all right to put their penis in an unconscious woman? Why? That's the question. I don't care how much she drank. You know what? You could fall asleep with your wallet wide open. And guess who's never going to steal your money out of your wallet? Shay, I don't steal. It's not even anything that I think about because I was raised like that. So I am tired of the wrong person being analyzed. I'm tired of the wrong analysis. I don't want to care. I don't care about the facts that you want to drum up to prove that it was all that I deserve to be murdered.
Okay. Yeah, that it deserves it. No.
Like, I don't want to care. I don't care if she walked out of her house butt naked. I want to talk to the man who thought it was all right to take her body like he owned it when he didn't. That's who I want to talk about. So that's what I'm saying. Like, I think we need to be called up, period. Like, let's just, you know, the only thing I think what really helps, think of people like they're your people. You know what I mean? Like, think of people and their hardships and their heartaches like they're yours. If George, think of George as your dad. Think of George as your brother. Think of George as your man. Think of George as your uncle. We have to humanize each other because I'm telling you, it's a trick. It's a trick. If they can keep you, the ubiquitous they, if they can keep you seeing me through the fractured prism of whatever construct they have given you, angry Black woman, a caricature of me and not who I am, girl, there's all kinds of shit you can do to me.
That's right.
Make me human.
That's what's so damn scary about this COVID thing, right? I call it COVID now.
Yeah.
Now I'm like, I've turned it.
I love it.
But that's I mean, I think that is the scariest part of all of this, is not that it's a sickness or an illness. It's that every one of us, like a girlfriend of mine, her baby got it. And so now, like, they all are self-quarantining, and they are being treated like goddamn lepers. Like, they are the lepers of the neighborhood. Nobody will look at them. Nobody will come and serve them. No, I mean, it is shameful.
It is shameful.
Take their baby to the doctor, like, they sent like some half-assed nurse to the house, and they like were going through the window. Like, it is just the most
that is goddamn COVID loca.
I mean, it is.
It's horrible.
If they can turn us against one another, to your point, that's, I mean,
dehumanize us. See, dehumanize us. That's what, then you can treat me all kinds of ways. And also, if you continue to interact with me from a fractured standpoint and we're not connected, again, you can treat me all kinds of ways. You can do all kinds of things to me when I'm the those and the them, and I'm over there, and I'm a caricature of who I am. And that's why I always say it's hard to hate up close. So to what you want, raise your children, have these conversations with your children. Don't be afraid. Have safe Black people in your life that you can feel like you can mess up with. I'm a safe Black person for you. You can mess up with me. You're not going to hurt my feelings because I know your intention is to know, and your intention is to love, and your intention is to move that needle. And yes, you're going to mess up while you're moving that needle. And so am I. So can we just hold hands and mess up together? Because we go back to what our original intention is. And our original intention is that we want to move the needle to love. So once I know that, I'm not going to translate you through the prism of you're a racist. I'm going to translate you through the prism of you're a beginner. Like, I'm a beginner. We're just trying.
You know, what's interesting, I heard, I read it somewhere a couple of years ago, and I was like, oh, that's so interesting. So Jews, when they came over from the Holocaust, right, they escaped, well, they had the gift of being white.
Right. Yeah, gift. You couldn't tell that they were Jewish. It's not a salient characteristic.
So I was often, like, somebody said, what if their numbers in the internment camps were on their foreheads?
Right.
What would have happened? And I was like, because I'm like, oh, it's kind of the same play. You know, I grew up thinking my plight was bad. I mean, I came from a very, very Jewish family, right?
No,
So
but your plight
our,
was bad.
our plight was terrible.
But I want to just stop you and say real quick, I think that's another one of the tricks. I don't think there needs to be a comparative analysis of pain.
I agree.
Pain is pain.
Where I was,
yeah.
And I remember being like, oh my gosh, that's so, because we were able to get right in, you know what I mean? There was no, it just made me think. I used to think that it was similar, you know, like, oh, well, the plight is similar. It's like, there's nothing. And I'm not
because I wear it.
I'm not comparing.
No, I understand, but you recognize the depth of it.
It's not the same. It's just not the same. Persecution may be the same, different, you know, but like, I don't walk around with a stamp on my forehead.
You don't. And that's the thing. My blackness enters the room before I even say anything. God, this has been, I do? Oh my gosh. After I ugly cried? After I ugly cried?
I still have the ugly cry going.
Oh my God, it was bad. Yeah. It's
all right.
Not...
Well, I love you, girl.
I love you. This has been powerful. We're going to have some more of these, right?
I would love to. I'm having a conversation with my pastor tomorrow about this kind of thing. And I know that you're going to do some work with your pastor. So I'm anxious to see what your conversations keep yielding, because I think they're really important.
Oh, thank you, sister. I love you. I love you. I love you. We're going to meet again here.
Okay. I love you. Bye, baby.